Hello everyone. In this video we will add a logic to display inventory weight, display item quality, and we will add a component that manages user widgets. Under components that manages user widgets, I mean the component that will show widgets, hide widgets, and also it will show and hide cursor when it is needed. In the last part we have added possibility to equip uh, items using right click. I've changed an icons a little so that we can see how on which slots our weapons are equipped. Let's start from adding a logic to display an inventory weight. Let's open our VB inventory widget. Here it is. And let's select the size box and increase its height on 100 or maybe not 100. Let's decrease the height of our inventory. Select the scroll box and add a top padding as maybe not 100. 80 is fine. Also, we can move our VB equipment a little bit to the bottom, also increasing top padding. So here we're gonna show our progress bar for inventory weight. Well, let's add a progress bar to our overlay. Here it is. Set horizontal alignment to fill horizontally. Let's check how much left padding our inventory has. It has 400 left padding. So our progress bar should also have something like 450. That's too much. 410. 410 is fine. And 10 from the right side. Also, we should add a padding from the top. Let it be 50. Okay, let's change the style. Let's make a tint of a background as something like this. And fill image tint something orange. And let's check here. We can change the progress like 0.5. Here is how it will look like. Change in appearance, change RGB to 111. And now we have our yellow color. So by default it's gonna be a 0 progress. Let's set it to 0. Also let's set the text. Add a padding from the left as 410. Padding from the top as maybe 10. And call it weight. Let's change the font and make it smaller, maybe 20 or 16. And opacity to 0.5. Also padding from top is gonna be 20. Well, 20 is fine. Now let's select our progress bar and make it a variable. Let's rename it and call it pb weight. Compile, save. Open a graph. And here we have update with inventory, update with equipment slots, and so on. Let's create a new function and call it update inventory weight. Here we're gonna get our pb weight and set some value to it, but we have to compute this value. Let's open our inventory system, BPC inventory system, and create a new function and call it calculate weight. So here is our calculate weight function, and let's create a local variable here and call it local all items of type as inventory slot, and it should be an array. just select S inventory slot here, and on the right details panel select an array. And let's set it here at start. Get current inventory and set to this local variable. Now let's get all our equipment slots because they are not in our inventory array slot, in our inventory array variable. Let's get every equipment slot. Helmet, chest, legs, gloves, foot, right hand weapon, and left hand weapon. And call make array. Connect every slot with items of this array. Get local items and call we have to loop through each item in this array. Let's add for each loop. And for each item in our make array, we're gonna get local all items, get, and call add. And add array element to it. So when for each loop will be completed, then our local all items will contain every item, including our equipment slots. So now let's get our local all items and loop through them. Loop through this array, add for each loop, and create a local variable called local weight of type float and make it a single. By default it should be 0. Here we're gonna break a slot and break an item. We're gonna get a row from a data table, then break this as inventory item. And here we need only weight. So let's disconnect all pins except weight. Now we're gonna multiply this weight on an amount of items. Here is an amount. Let's plug this to our multiply. And right after that, we're gonna set local weight with get local weight plus result of multiply. Well, when for each loop will be completed, then we will have a local weight in correct stance. So here we're gonna return from this function. Add return node, get local weight here, and just move it to return node. It will create us an output. Select return node and let's rename it as weight. Compile and save. Now, when do we need to call this function? We need to call this function every time when we are updating our inventory. So first let's create a variable here called current weight. And let's create a new function called reload data. Here we're gonna call our on inventory updated. And right before this, we're gonna call calculate weight. And set it to a current weight. Now, we have to call this reload data instead of direct calls of call on inventory update in our functions. Let's open function equip armor, and here we are calling on inventory update. Instead of it, we're gonna call reload data. Copy this function for future uses. Okay, let's open equip our hand weapon and replace colon inventory update with this function. The same for left hand weapon. Add item function. Remove item function. And that's all. Well, now let's open our VB inventory here. Open a function update inventory weight. Here we're gonna get our inventory system and get max weight. Also, from an inventory system, we're gonna get current weight. We're gonna divide current weight on max weight. Clamp this between 0 and 1. And this is gonna be our progress. So we're gonna get the PB weight and set percent function and plug result of clamp into in percent pin. Now we have to call this update inventory weight function from somewhere. Well, let's open our main hot widget. Open update inventory function. And right after update with equipment slots, we're gonna get VB inventory and call update weight. Update inventory weight. Compile, save. Now let's open our project and let's test it out. For example, if I will add some items, we can see that weight has increased. Well, by the way, how much weight do we have? Max weight is 0. So editor will return us some errors. Let's set max weight to 100. Let's count a little how much it should be. Let's open our data table. One apple weight is 0, 1. So 50 weapons will weight 5. One axe weighs 10. 5, 10. Knife weighs 10. Okay. Weapons weight 10 and one stack of apples weight 5. So here we have 10, 30 plus 40, 40 and 0, 5. So 40 and a half. Well, it looks like not like we have 40 and a half of weight. Well, let's open our calculate weight function. And check what weight do we have. Let's add a print and plug local weight into our print statement. 40 and a half. Okay. So max weight is 100. And VB inventory is getting current weight, dividing it on max weight, and it should return us a percent of something like 0.405. Let's print this clamp result. Well, it is too small. Let's add a breakpoint here and check values. Current weight is 10 and a half. Max weight is 1000. Well, looks like max weight is too big. Maybe in create inventory we have set it to some big value. Max weight. No. Here it is 100. Well, I found out the problem, and in my character on my component, I have set it as a default value here in details. So if you did it like me, then just open your character and change it back to 100. And now it should work. Also, I have disconnected this function. So now our inventory weighs 40 and a half, and you can see that progress is almost half. That's how it looks like. Next, let's add a logic to display a quality of an item. Previously, we have added to our structure a variable quality. It can be from 0 to 1 for weapons. It will mean durability of a weapon. For food, it can mean how spoiled food is or how much of food is left. That depends on your choices. But unfortunately, we have created our S inventory slot structure not proper for that, because every time we are getting a new item from a data table, ignoring a current quality of a product. So let's add a new variable to our S inventory slot to fix this issue and call it item quality of type float. Now let's apply these changes everywhere in our inventory system, open functions. And in add item, let's add a new input called quality of type float. But set default value to -1. Let's scroll a little bit to the right and find slots to store, break slot, and here we are making an inventory slot. Let's refresh this node, and here is a little arrow at the bottom, and we have to provide an item quality. Here we're gonna add a select node, select float node, and we're gonna check whether a quality that's provided by an input is not equal to -1. So if it is not, then this quality is correct and it goes into A. If false, in B goes a quality from breaking inventory slot. Let's plug this item quality here into B. So this function will select this quality if input quality is not -1. Now, let's change our equip functions. Also because here we are, how do we equip? Oh no, we equip in correct way. By the way, let's open our equip our hand weapon function first. And here we're setting an array element if an item was replaced. So let's connect item quality to item quality. And here at the bottom, let's connect item quality to quality. The same for left hand weapon. Let's open equip armor. And here we should also do the same. Connect quality to item quality. And at the bottom, item quality to quality. Now let's open the equip function. And here we are adding an item. Tap on an arrow and connect item quality to quality. So our quality will be updated. Well, now we are finished, I think, with calculations. Well, let's wrong event dispatcher bind event on right mouse button. And we're calling on right mouse button. So what's the problem here? A wrong create event doesn't match signature. Well, we are plugging a slot. Let's try it again. Bind event on right mouse button, or let's try to generate a new matching function. How it will look like? It looks the same. Okay, let's just copy it from here, delete this on right mouse button and rename this function. Not rename, let's paste everything here, back here, and try to use this function. Will it work? No, no. Let's delete this and try to bind event on right mouse button again. Create event. And let's select a function. Create a matching function. Let's open our widget. Maybe inventory slot widget, open graph, compile it. Okay, it is compiled. Dispatcher is fine. Okay, I have to compile VB inventory slot to make it work. So let's rename function back to on right mouse button. So no more issues. Well, now let's also open our equipment slot. I'm not sure, maybe we should also compile it and compile VB equipment. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna modify our VB inventory slot and add some progress of equality here. Let's add the size box in our overlay. Here it is. Vertical alignment bottom, horizontal centered, and here we're gonna set a width and height. Width is gonna be maybe not 150. Height is gonna be not 10, 5. And bottom padding is gonna be 4. And we're gonna add a progress bar here in the size box. Well, now it has a correct width and height. Also, let's set some percentage to 0.5. Set appearance as 111. And maybe we can tweak colors a little bit. I'm gonna set a background image alpha as 0.5 alpha, and fill image is gonna be a little bit darker, and its alpha also gonna be 0.7, 0.8. Well, select this progress bar here and call it PB quality. Make it a variable. Now let's open a graph. And here we have a function, we have a preconstruct. Let's open our event graph here in event preconstruct. After everything, here we are breaking an inventory slot. We can get item quality from it. Let's move it a little bit to the right. We're gonna get our PB quality and set percent. And percentage is gonna be divide, a result of divide item quality divided by 1. That's it. No, looks like item quality default is 0. Am I correct? Oh, we have a debug key in our character. Where is it? Here is our debug key. And we are adding items, but they have default value of quality -1. Let's set quality for apples to 1, for axe to 0.8, and for example for knife to 0.2. Now let's start the project. And you can see a quality of our items. Well, but here in equipped slot they don't have a quality. You can add them in the same way. I don't think that we have to do it in this video. Again, one more thing that I would like to add is I want to add a color change depending on the quality. So let's open our VB inventory slot. And let's create a function here. Let's call it update quality info. Open event graph and copy everything we have done here, not about progress bar, and cut it from here. We're gonna do it in update quality info. Paste it here, like this. Well, now get an inventory slot item here, break it, and plug item quality where it is needed. Now let's get our PB quality again and set fill color and opacity. We're gonna select color depending on item quality. Well, let's check if item quality greater than 0. What is the next quality? Axe quality is 0.8. Well, let's check if it is greater than 0.8. Move it to the bottom. Well, if it is greater than 0.8, select true, and it's gonna be maybe green color with 0.8 opacity. If false, we're gonna do select again. Not select color, or just select, they're doing the same. Well, here we're gonna add another check. If item quality is greater than knife has, well, let's greater than 0.5. If it is, select true, and here we're gonna set some maybe yellow color with the same alpha. If false, we're gonna add one more select. Okay, let's use select color, item quality. If it is greater than 0.3, or maybe 0.2, now here A will be selected if it is true. We're gonna use some orange color. Instead, if it is less than 0.2, we're gonna use red. Save compile, let's call this function here in event graph. After reset, or after all, we're gonna call update quality info. Let's start the project, open inventory, and here you can see that our axe progress is yellow, our knife is almost broken and it is red, and the apples are fine. Well, what do we need to do now? We have to add a component that will manage our user widgets. Let's open components folder, create new component, and call it widgets manager. Open it, right click on an empty space, blueprint class, actor component. Let's call it BPC widget manager, and let's open it. Let's create a enumeration. Right click on an empty space, blueprint enumeration, and call it e widget type. What do we have? We have, for now, we have only inventory. But for example, what if we will have something like, okay, we have an inventory and main HUD. Let's close it, enumeration, open our widget, and create a new variable. Let's call it shown widgets of type e widget type. Compile and save. Let's make it a set, and it's gonna be an empty set. Let's create a new variable and call it cursor widgets. And this is gonna be a set of widgets that require cursor. Let's add a variable here and select an inventory. So inventory requires cursor. Well, let's create few functions. First is gonna be, or maybe just one, show widget. Yeah, show widget and hide widget. Show widget function will have an input widget type of type e widget type. Here we're gonna check if it is already shown. So let's get shown widgets, call contains item, and plug widget type. Add a branch. If it is already shown, if then true, we do nothing. In other case, we have to show this widget. We're gonna get this, get widget type and switch on it. Switch, or maybe not like this. Yeah, switch on it, switch on eWidget type. If it is main hot, then we have to show it. Let's create a new variable, call it main hot widget of type vb main hot, or how it is called. Yes, it is called vb main hot. Also ensure that it is a single. Let me check if it is a correct one. Which variables my main hot has. vb inventory. Well, looks like it is one that I need. Let me check second main hot that we have, that I have. Update inventory function. It should has update inventory function. This one doesn't, so I need second one. Well, here we're getting a main hot widget. Checking if it is valid. Is valid. If it is valid, then we're gonna get this main hot widget and add it to a viewport. If it is not valid, then we have to create it. Let's call create widget of class vb main hot. Not this one, main hot. We have to provide an inventory system here. So how we gonna do that? We gonna get an owner, get component by class, and we're gonna get our bpc inventory system. Plug it into inventory system. Well, this widget is gonna be added to a viewport. Let's call add to viewport again. And it should be set it to our variable. Let's get main hot widget and call set. Not this. Okay, I need to use the first one, main hot. I have to refresh everything here. And we're gonna set it to this variable. Well, that's it for a main hot widget. For inventor widget, we're gonna get our main hot widget and call show inventory and toggle show. Let's move it like this, and that's all. Here, after false, let's add the sequence. Hold S keyboard button and left click on an empty space. Connect Zen 1 here, and on Zen 0 here, and on Zen 1 we're gonna get shown widgets and add a widget that we have just shown. This widget type. Let's get widget type. Compile and save. Now let's open function called hide widget. Add an input. Widget type. We're gonna get shown widgets and check if it contains this widget. Add a branch. And here we're gonna do some logic only if it is true, only if a widget we want to hide is really shown. So we're gonna get widget type and switch. If we want to hide a main hot widget, we're gonna get main hot widget and remove from parent. Also, we're gonna remove it from our shown widgets. But we'll do it a little bit later. For inventory widget, we're gonna get main hot and call show inventory with flag false. As in previous function, let's add a sequence after branch, connect then 1 here, then 0 here, and on then 1, we gonna get shown widgets and remove item. Get widget type. Well, now let's create last function here called update cursor visibility. Here we will have to define how to show and do we need to show a cursor. We're gonna check whether at least one of a widget from our set cursor widgets is currently shown. If it is, then a cursor should be shown. So we're gonna get an intersection, get shown widget, intersection with cursor widgets. If this intersection is not empty, then we're gonna show cursor. So we're gonna get player controller and set input mode, game and UI, and set show mouse cursor to true. In other case, we're gonna set input mode, well, maybe set input mode UI only, no, game and UI for showing cursor, and set input mode game only if we want to hide the cursor. Connect the player controller here and call show mouse cursor to false. Compile and save. That's all. That's almost all. We have to only call this function update visibility. Here on show widget, after adding, we're gonna call update. And on hide, after removing, we're also gonna call update. Compile, save, open our character, and let's add this BPC widgets manager. Compile, save. Now let's open our, where is main hot edit? By the way, I'm adding it in begin play. I'm gonna edit now using a component. I'm gonna call show widget. Main hot, compile. Now let's open our input where we are opening an inventory. It was a tab keyboard button. Here it is. We don't need a boolean is inventory shown. We can delete it with everything here. No, we need it. I'm sorry, we need it. So we don't need this show inventory function called on VB main hot widget. We can delete it. We can delete VB main hot widget. And here we're gonna get our VPC widgets manager and call show inventory, show widget. inventory or hide widget inventory. We're gonna add a branch and connect is inventory shown. If is shown, then we're connecting it to show widget. If not, we're connecting it to false widget. Compile and save. Also, I have found one issue is that when we are removing an item, our quality is set to -1. So let's open a function remove item. And here on for each loop, let's extend inventory slot and make inventory slot and connect item qualities. We forgot about them. Compile, save, and now it will work fine. Now let's start project, and now I have tapped on tab, I've closed it and cursor is hidden. So that's it for this video, and also I think that it is a last video about inventory system. We have covered a lot of different themes, and with these knowledges you should be able to extend this inventory to fit your needs. Thanks for watching. See you in next tutorials.